Hello, this is Eric of Sparky Studio and welcome to my review of the Viltrox 20mm F2.8 FE E Mount Sony lens. Now this is a super lightweight small lens. Sure, it's not a pancake lens, but it's getting pretty small. I thought I literally bought the wrong lens. I thought this was an APS-C and I was like, oh no. This is one of the cheapest autofocus lenses I've ever seen at about 186 USD. That is absolutely insane. Let's just call it $190. It's really cheap. Now we have the lens hood that's included. Of course, we have all our covers, we have a bag to place it in, and we can update via USB Type-C port from the PC. In fact, I'm going to update the firmware right now, and while I'm updating that, let's check out some B-roll footage of this lens. This new firmware optimizes the lens edge focus problem, repairs some of the camera boot anomaly problems, fixes the camera focus jitter problems, fixes some of the camera video mode focusing difficulties, and fixes the problem that the focus position is not reset after shutdown and startup. The firmware is now updated. Now, what is the difference between this and a much more expensive G Master lens per se? Plastic rather than a bunch of metal. We still have some metal, just not all metal build. And there's no weather sealing gasket. It means you'll want to avoid taking this out in the rain. Or any sort of storm, probably. Either way, let's get this attached. Look at this view right now and watch the view when I attach this lens. And the reason why I move the camera over is because I don't want to stare at my garbage can on that side of my room, which I might still do. 35mm G Master lens on right now, going to 20mm. Whoa, that is insane. 35mm to this. Wow. And right now we are f3.5 because that's what I have my G Master on. So I'll switch that over to 2.8 so we can see the background blur. Here we are at f2.8. Now if I want more blur, I'm going to get closer. So if I stick my hand out, the blur should be decent. Wait, did I see like no breathing out here? Dang! And yes, this is a lot larger than that lens, and a lot heavier. Right now we're using the Sony G Master. Let's check out breathing without breathing compensation on. See that zoom in, zoom out? Yeah, that's crazy breathing without breathing compensation on. Viltrox is better. Wait, I'm not saying Viltrox is a better lens. I'm saying it has less image breathing. So, yeah. Let's get outside and do a little bit of recording. Right now I'm using a selfie stick, and this is standard stabilization, which is not zoomed in as much as it would be. Let's go to active. And this is with the active stabilization. Great vlogger lens, so we have that room to play with. There we go. And that's awesome. Now I'm gonna try to see if there's focus breathing. I'm gonna go back in the apartment if I can, right there, and move over. And move back. And move over. I heard this lens had like a weird noise when it actually focuses somewhere else. That's a distance away and there's no lens noise. Like up close. Up close again. Nope, no clunking sound or anything. So I guess the firmware update really did improve things. That's really good. That's really good. Oh my gosh, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I turned it back to standard stabilization so we can really see those corners. And I changed my autofocus speed and responsiveness from halfway in my camera to maximum. Let's see now if there's any noise. No way. Oh, that's fast. That's, oh my gosh, fast. Okay, this is F2.8 by the way. No stabilization, so we get the widest possible. Let's look at the corners once I'm out. Of course, that means the grass in the corner is going to be also out of focus. Let's see if I get better focus. Okay, can we see the corners sharpness? Change. We're now f6.3. And now let's go back down to 2.8. Nice background blur. We are now on the Sony 35mm G Master f1.4 set to an aperture of 4. How is my image sharpness? And now we are on the Viltrox. I had to add even more lighting because I'm in a different location to try to even it out so my eyes are not dark. How am I coming through in terms of sharpness? Now I'm on f2.8. One thing to note about this lens is that noisy focus ring that could show up in your video footage versus my G Master, which is extremely quiet in comparison. Also, the G Master, when my lights were set to 5600K, configures with color checking to 5400K, and this Viltrox shows up as 5000K, so the colors are indeed a bit off with this lens. It's hard to tell without that struggles up here. That was where it started struggling. That was about 15 centimeters away from the lens, where it just went nuts there. But if you're like a foot away or more, I think we're pretty good. I went back to active stabilization. Even if I had like the other crop mode that was closer, this would still work. I can hold it out with my little selfie stick, but even if I hold from the camera body, I'll hold from the camera body. Here's me. I'm just holding from underneath the camera cage. Beautiful, beautiful. Works just fine. Come on, trying to listen. No noise. Sometimes it actually is a nice creative feature to have more of a darkening around the edges. It's all up to you. And in terms of image breathing, it's a lot less than the G Master, a lot less than my Sony 35mm 1.4 G Master, which I'm using right now. I have breathing compensation on. Now let's just show that right now, how much breathing there is despite the compensation on. This is Eric of Sparky Studios. Don't forget to subscribe and help this channel grow. And if you have any questions, leave them down below, because I can't answer questions if you don't ask them. Thanks again for watching, and have yourselves a most wonderful day. By the way, filter thread is 52 millimeters if you want to attach a filter. I actually answered that in the video, but I cut that part out. So we're watching this inside footage rather than outside footage where I go through that specification.